All right, here we are on Khaydaria, whichever way we feel like saying it is the correct way to pronounce it, just in case you were wondering. And TSL.RagnaroK is going to be the first Zerg player up for TSL. He's the red one on the bottom left spawn. And over here in the bottom right, we have a guy that you've probably seen many games from. It is MarineKingPrime as the yellow Terran. Yellow's kind of an odd look for him, I think.
Yeah, usually floating somewhere around purple, maybe blue on occasion, but never really sporting the yellow. But we'll see how that pans out for him.
It's just offensive.
It's a bold choice. So let's go ahead and see here. TVZ seems to be the matchup of choice for everyone on Khaydaria. It seems to be pretty much primarily what we're getting. We've been lucky the past couple of times, though. They have been cross spawns. In this case, we do have close spawns, but I think thankfully for our Zerg player, it's the way that it's oriented now. Of course, Banshees are going to be a very great threat. They'll be able to make their way over to the natural very soon, but what you don't want as a Zerg player is to have a situation like on Taldra Malter used to have, where there was a spawn position where it was very easy for Terran players to get in and siege up an opponent's natural. And you actually kind of have that here if the positions would have been reversed. If Ranking were sitting where Ragnarok was, he'd have very easy access to roll up here through these destructible rocks and kind of siege up this entire space.
Wow.
And apparently MKP has lost the game, so...
I don't know. Was that a preemptive GG, or was he saying, like, he's like, okay, we're 2.5 minutes in, you lose. I'm not dead yet. You haven't six-pulled me, so I'm going to win. No, either way, Ragnarok obviously is on the same team as Hyun, who we've cast something like 38 games of in the last 6 weeks. So I'm very curious to see if Ragnarok and Shine and Symbol and all the other 100 TSL Zergs, if they play like Hyun, or if they are not as good, or I don't know. I just want to see how they add up, basically. And MarineKingPrime is obviously a difficult opponent to actually have to test the water against here for Ragnarok.
Ragnarok's a pretty good starting choice, though, I have to say, because you can reserve those. You were talking about Shine, but also specifically Hyun and Symbol are just world-class Zerg players that are capable of beating anyone right now. So it's good to keep those in reserve. You still have your heavy hitters in the other races as well. Don't forget Pult still sitting back there, so... We'll see what
in Nori, they have a Protoss player.
That's right, they do have a Protoss player.
And Cyrano. I remember Cyrano is on the team as well. And Nori obviously was pretty close to us here at IGN, as he was one of the members of Team Rain for a while, so we always liked to keep tabs on how Nori was doing at events all over the place. But now he has obviously moved on to TSL, and maybe we'll get to see him as well. Who knows? MKP is going to just start with a pretty quick expansion already after just that first racks going down, and actually 2 gas so far, so he could actually start headed toward that factory tech soon.
And, I mean, if we take a look back at Ragnarok's side of things, he's already done something considerably different than his teammate Hyun. We saw on the set against Alive, Hyun basically every game in a row decided to go for super quick, went for an expansion, then went for pool and single gas almost immediately afterwards to prioritize speed, in contrast to what a lot of the 4 and Zerg players are doing with the 4 and 6 queen builds. This go around, it looked like we were heading down towards a 4 queen build, but then Ragnarok completely flips that on its head and double gasses after the first 2 queens pop out.
All right, so the factory and reactor are both building now for MKP. Obviously, this will allow him to flip those around once they're both done and crank out a couple of Hellions, 2, 4, 6, 8. Sometimes Hellions will pop out while we figure out what additional tech MKP adds on. Usually it's going to be either 2 more barracks or that starport, and since he should actually be finding his opponent soon, his SCV Scout is actually just now hitting the field. He is going to narrow it down eventually. I don't think he doesn't even have any vision on any overlords or anything. So the fact that there's no creep yet should probably be a sign to him that, he's not in the top right, but he's going to continue scouting around. He does have his first 2 Hellions coming out now, and he is going to continue onto the starport rather than the additional 2 barracks that you sometimes see.
Layer tech coming up for Ragnarok very quickly as well. And we're going to see a big 2-base Muta build start moving into some higher tech afterwards. He certainly does still have a lot of flexibility, though. He's only grabbing 2 gas for now. We also know that his teammate Hyun is very fond of going for lots of roaches in pretty much every matchup as well, so we could see him start to head down that path. Ranking on the other end, he does have enough gas to go for Cloak right away if he so chooses, but there's a Banshee first of all, and question mark. No, not looking like he's even going to save up to that 200 minerals to give himself Cloak. Maybe delayed in a bit, though.
It is possible that he'll, build in some travel time and start Cloak a little bit later, but usually if you... there it is, actually. Okay, so he's got plenty of time. time before that Banshee is actually going to arrive over there anyway to be able to do any damage with or without Cloak, so not a huge deal. He is going to send some Marines along for the ride. He is the Marine King, so that doesn't surprise me very much. There are 4 Hellions and 3 Marines in this little attack squad here, but those the 2 queens at the ramp and actually a spine crawler sitting right behind actually makes this very, very difficult to break into. This ramp is actually a pretty easy one to defend for Zerg.
And it is indeed 2-base Spire. As we can see, Spire's on the way. Maybe proxied at the moment. I don't know. Why don't I see it for some reason? Maybe I'm just overlooking it.
What are you looking
there,
for?
Okay, there it is. Yeah, it is a little bit hidden. So I was looking for where the Spire was placed, but
semi-proxy.
Yeah, just hidden off to the side.
Oh, here we go. MKP is actually moving in. His first Banshee is here. Obviously, it doesn't have Cloak yet, so he doesn't want to commit and lose it for free to those queens. But the Hellions actually are posturing, and actually RagnaroK has good vision of this. He's going to go ahead and barricade his ramp into the main, it looks like. I'm curious if he's going to pull drones. Actually, now the queens are coming back, so he is changing gears a little bit. It looked like he was a little bit indecisive, but the queens are at the front. We don't have enough energy for transfusion at all. So actually, wow, I'm surprised the queens are moving right into the Hellion fire, taking all that splash damage. The Banshee actually nearly goes down, though, so it would have been worth it, perhaps, had he killed the Banshee. There it is. Banshee getting a little bit overzealous, even though it had Cloak. And the Hellions, actually, there's no answer for them right now, aside from the Spine Crawler. He's going to have 8 Mutalisks building right now, but that's quite a few seconds here for the Hellions to just go crazy, torching 4 drones at a time. That is rough.
And let's see, actually, if Marine King, has he picked up on Spire Tech? No, not yet, but he can pretty well assume that that's what's going to pop out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him preparing for that back at home. He's already killed 9 workers, and that's a lot of drones sitting in the middle of the map. Hasn't been able to kill that many. Pretty effective splitting from RagnaroK so far, but now that the Mutas have popped out, the Hellions will eventually be dealt with, but not before. Pretty good economic damage was dealt.
Yeah, quite a lot of workers. 16 drones overall torched by the Hellions and a couple of those Marines, obviously. The Banshee is going to come out now. It looks like another one did just hit the natural area of RagnaroK. It is cloaked. There's no Spore Crawler on the ground, but there is an Overseer nearby, and that's going to go down without too much of a fight.
All right, well, Zerglings starting to poke over towards the third of Marine King. Still not aware of that quite yet. Oh, you know, Marine King, even though he's going to lose these Banshees very quickly and not really pick up that many kills, he is delaying for quite a while and putting up 5 turrets in the meantime. So it gives him the time he needs to put that ring of turrets up, make sure that he's going to stay safe against these Mutalisks.
That's right, lots of turrets, Marines still being churned out, and did see a Viking in the production tab just a moment ago, so he is going to have pretty good air coverage. Should probably continue making some Vikings, I think, as these Mutas are not slowing down for the time being. He doesn't have that much anti-air. The Hellions just circling around like, please don't shoot us, go away.
They're absorbing glaive arm shots as well from the SEVs, which is actually pretty smart.
Yeah, but we do have 9 Mutas still flying around, more joining all the time. Actually, that's just another Overseer. He's looking for the soft spots here. He could actually potentially take out an add-on or a depot here without actually being taken out. Single Viking is the only thing in the air, actually, for MKP. So, oh, wow, a couple of Lings coming in, actually, at the third are going to be able to chew down these turrets here, and this Orbital Command's in a little bit of trouble, but I believe those Marines will be showing up any moment now. Yep.
Yeah, the Marines did show up. Both of the turrets have gone down, though, so there's going to be a little bit of a weak point here at the third for a while that Marine King is going to have to defend. But otherwise, game is slowly stabilizing. But as we can see back on RagnaroK's side, he hasn't been able to get too much of use out of these Mutalisks. He's accumulated a lot of gas in the meantime, and he's only just now putting down a third base, no macro hatch in sight. So his production is going to be quite far behind.
He is supply blocked for a brief time here, too, as that Overseer was taken out by the Viking. And, yeah, he was blocked for a good 30 seconds there, although a lot of his larva was in use, so it doesn't seem like it mattered that much. +1/+1 on the way for RagnaroK, and Marine King is rolling his upgrades as well. +1/+1 for Bio, as well as those combat shields. Bunker is going to get canceled there at the front, and I'm surprised RagnaroK's actually moving in with this. He doesn't have that much damage to be able to deal with Stim Marines, and actually, yeah, he's going to lose a couple of Mutas and a lot of Lings there. He is going to continue running into the third, though. Not really many SCVs to attack, though, so he's just going to back off completely now.
Okay, so MKP is able to hold on to that pretty well. He loses the bunker as he was trying to start constructing that wall over from his natural to his thirds. We've seen some Terran players do here. Of course, you know, we said it a few times on this map, but there is a very wide opening to the third, and it is even ground, and there's a couple of paths to actually get there. So Terran players are going to have very stout siege-based defenses.
That's right. More Mutalisks coming along now, though, so tanks are going to be useful, obviously, against any waves of Lings and Banelings that start to come in, but these Mutalisks are still going to be a threat as RagnaroK is not slowing down on that production.
2 Baneling nests.
Yeah, though. 2 Baneling nests. That's good for something, I'm sure.
not really, actually. not good for much.
I don't think Hyun taught him that one.
No, I don't believe so. I think you're absolutely right.
He canceled one, I believe.
Okay, good.
Let's go make sure.
Yeah, no.
No, it's just finished. Okay.
Good. And he does have Bailing Speed researching at that one, so this one will have
the other one. Yeah. Okay, so it's a feint.
Yes.
It's a trick.
Support.
He's tricking MKP, saying, I'm going to have twice as many Banelings now, because if you have 2 nests, each Zergling turns into 2 Banelings.
Clearly.
Yep.
For people who are new to the game, that's absolutely untrue. Josh lies on a frequent basis.
I'm just trying to help Ragnarok. So. I'm trying to justify Ragnarok's decisions. 2 Zerglings come out of a single cocoon at the hatchery. Why couldn't 2 Banelings pop out of a single cocoon?
I guess.
There we go.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, Burrow's being researched as well, so eventually you can start some Baneling landmines. These mules are just trying to poke in and do anything. But if we take a look around Marine King's base, I love how he spreads out his buildings as well, so they're not all going to come under assault at once. He's got some over at his natural. He's got some in front of his third, so that even if there's a bigling run by, not all of his production comes under attack at the exact same time.
Ragnarok does have a 4th base coming up now, but it's totally undefended, totally naked, and MKP is on the move right now. These Banelings of Ragnarok will have to find their targets very, very well here, as MKP obviously has tons of great micro. He is, very well known for his marine splitting, and here we go. The first wave of Banelings are coming in. Baneling speed is going to finish right as it gets in here, so that could actually be a little tricky. Some Banelings are going to get killed off, but no, he does see that Baneling speed now without actually getting hit by anything, taking out Overlords and Creep Tumors. He is supply blocked his opponent, and now begins the Marine splits. Oh, but Banelings are actually crashing into all of them. Banelings finding a lot of juicy targets there. There are still quite a lot of Marines here, and I don't know how many tanks are actually in tow. They are kind of sieged up back a little bit, but they are going to blast down these Banelings. Ling's running in now to finish off the tanks, and all the Marines have to get scooped up by the medevacs, but Ragnarok's still sitting there with so many Banelings getting taken out.
That was so cute, though. Marine King picked everything up inside of the medevacs and dropped them down back individually to take out Banelings one by one, and had enough Marines left over because of the medevac cover to start warding away the Mutalisks as well. So that was just really good control from Marine King. And we see the full effect of his macro. It's such a macro advantage here because Ragnarok was able to put on basically 0 pressure this entire game, opening for a less economical, more greedy offensive opening, and wasn't able to get anything done with it. So as a result, Marine King is just kind of steamrolling, and there's a GG.
Yeah, there's a GG. He still had lots of Banelings there and could not find targets for them.
All right. Well, wow. That's game number 1. Pretty convincing for Marine King, honestly. He had control.